So, do you hate to play with black pieces because you lose a lot of games? Stay tuned in because here is top 5 solid defenses for black coming up. Hello dear chess friends, what's up? Chesstomax is here. And today guys I'm going to talking about some solid opening preferences that you can play with black pieces. Because generally when we are going to play with black, we simply play classical openings like e4 and e5. But here are better moves to respond your opponent and to surprise your opponent sometimes. So as always guys, if you like our video, please don't forget to like, and if you are new to channel, don't forget to subscribing. Now, without further much waiting, let's start our video. One of the most famous and oldest openings is called French Defence, and being famous by 19th century famous chess players Labordona and Deschapelles. If your opponent starts with e4, then it's e6 and starts French defense. The main aim is here to support the d5 pawn for d5 square for future coming of d7 pawn here. And the most common response by white is d4, occupying the center, and we still keep our aim and push d5. Now here are some variations that can white play. One of the most famous is knight to c3, and if white plays this, black can play bishop to b4. It's called Wiener variation, pinning the knight to the king. Of course, there are some different variations as well. If white decides to play knight to d2, because we attack the e4 pawn here, and of course, if white won't capture the pawn on d5, then it should protect his pawn on e4. Therefore, knight to d2 is also another choice. The main reason why knight d2 is played is because also, if black decides to play bishop b4 and pin the knight again, then there's simply c3 and white gets a void from pinning. But this variation is called Carrick Defence and generally played in master level a lot. Also, one of the most famous and dangerous line is called e5 advanced variation. This is one of my favorite lines when I play against French defense, and it's very effective against French defense. But still, there are plenty of options for black to play, and one of the most famous is c5, trying to penetrate the center of white and keep eye on these two pawns here and weaken them. Also, French defense isn't one of the modern choices of grandmasters. However, it is generally played a lot in clubs and like advanced levels, and it's great defense for starting players to learn and enjoy. Our another solid defense for e4 is c6, called Caro-Kann defense. Again, main aim is here as French defense to support the d5 square and advance of d7 pawn to this square. However, also white has many responses to play, and generally one of them is d4. Again, as we see pretty similar position in French defense, but now black attacks from the wings of the board. And of course, main response is here pushing the d5. And now, according to white choices, many different games can be played. One of the common lines is again knight to c3, called classical variation. However, now our dark squared bishop isn't available for pinning the knight on c3 yet. But also, if knight c3, then black can capture simply by playing d takes e4, and of course after knight captures, it is a kind of solid formation for black, and black will continue his plans and developing his pieces. Also, another variation is called exchange variation. If white plays I'm sorry, if white plays e takes d5 and then c takes d5 can be played, and again we see pretty much similar position, except in white e pawn is absent and in black c pawn is absent, but still this position also gives black pretty much choices to develop his pieces and continue his solid game. Also, the most common line is advanced variation called e5, and I am pretty sure that also advanced variation is very strong play for white here, but of course still there are many responses like bishop to f5 or even f6, pushing the f pawn and trying to get this pawn, and if e pawn takes f6 pawns, then simply knight captures f6, and we also develop our knight and change the strong pawn in the center. Also, Caro-Kann defense is one of the most loved and played in higher levels, especially famous world champions Mikhail Botvinnik and Anatoly Karpov played this defense and enjoyed from a lot. So I pretty much recommend you to study and enjoy from this opening as well. So until this part of video we have seen some black responses that can be played against e4. But what if our player is playing d4 in his first move? Then of course there are many choices as well, but I will show you one of the most famous in advanced level and also in club level. It's called knight f6 and it starts with Indian defenses. Of course there are like many Indian defenses that you can play, but I'm going to talk about one of the most famous one. As we see here, this knight on f6 doesn't allow pushing of e4, and therefore our opponent either if plays c4 or knight c3, then a main line is here g6. You may ask why to play this move. Of course it's obvious to see that a future plan of black is putting the bishop on g7 square and then castle and put his king to solid and safe square. Of course, according to white responses, games can change, and generally after c4 white plays with knight c3 and black continues with his plan bishop g7. If white plays e4 and making strong pawns in center, it's still not too late to fight for center, and we play d6, not allowing pushing e5 and removing our knight. And after d6 there are pretty much many lines, actually many lines, and on King's Indian Defense there are many books that you can read and study this opening. However, I'm going to quickly tell you the most famous ones played in advanced level. One of the most famous one is 4 pawn attack, played by pushing f4, and of course black should respond it somehow, and most general idea is here to play c5 to attack from the wings, as said in chess terminology, and to put some pressure on white's pawn center. Also, if black decides to play the main line, he can play knight f3, simply developing the knight and keeping his development and fight for in the center. Also, one of the most famous line and like one of the most dangerous lines you can say for King's Indian Defense is called f3. As from this move it doesn't seem so dangerous, but it's most like beautiful choice that can grandmasters do, and it basically occupies the g4 square, and after pushing the e5, as we can see from these diagrams, I'm sorry, as the knight has like no good square to move except h5, but still It's not very good position for black knight. Also, I recommend you to learn and to play this great opening because it was once choice of chess legends like Garry Kasparov and Bobby Fischer, and they pretty much love this opening, and I hope you will do as well. Also, we are going to back to e4 openings, and one of the most famous response to e4 is c5, called Sicilian Defence, which, as we see from diagram, is main idea to occupying the center by threatening d4 square. And here general response is knight to f3, and d6 starts the Scheveningen variation, one of the most common line in Sicilian nowadays. After playing a d4, e takes d4, knight takes d4, knight f6, and knight to c3. There are a few different responses that can black do and change his game. One of the most famous is g6 and called dragon variation, as we see from the diagram here. Main idea to fianchetting the dark squared bishop on g7 and then castling under it. Also, there are another variation called Najdorf variation by playing a6, but it's a very theoretical opening, and I would recommend you to really study and know what you are doing in this position unless you want to start to play Najdorf. Also, there are another Sicilian variations that I want to show you is e4, c5, knight to f3, knight to c6, d4, c takes d4, knight takes d4, knight f6, and knight b5. This is called Kalashnikov variation, and it has a really cool name and one of the common lines that played in Sicilian among club players today. That's why I wanted to show you, and I also recommend you to study Sicilian defenses and to play. That's actually also one of the most attacking defenses as known in chess history. And many great legends like Garry Kasparov and women chess champion, world chess champion Judith Polgar love this opening and pretty much played many fantastic games in Sicilian, and you can definitely learn about Sicilian by studying their games as well. Now we come to our most solid and my most favorite defense. It's again a response to King Pawn's opening, and it starts with e4 and d6. This is called Pirc's defense in English, and also in Russian it's called Pirc Ufimtsev defense. Also modern defense in some other languages and chess terminology. However, that's one of the most solid defense that I have seen in my chess career, and I also love this opening very much. Game continues with most general response d4 and knight f6, again developing the knight and putting pressure on e4 square here. Then pretty much white can play the best move here, knight c3, and response to it will be g6. Again, the same idea we have seen in King's Indian and Sicilian Dragon variation, to fianchetting the dark squared bishop on g7 and then castling on king's side. However, white can play different variations and can put pressure on black pieces. One of the most famous is f4. It's kind of similar line we have seen in 4 pawns attack in King's Indian. However, as we see here now, there is only 3 pawns in center, but again, this is one of the dangerous lines for Pirc's defense. But the most famous line is here to playing b6 and again preparing for fight for center with pushing c5. Also, if not f4, but our opponent plays bishop g5, then h6 and bishop e3. White still can fianchetto his bishop and continue to his plan. Also, one of the most famous line named after great Russian chess player Efim Geller is knight to f3. It seems very silent move, but also it aiming for development and putting his pressure in middle game as well. This defense is not one of the most common defenses I think in the upper level of chess, but it's still played by many great chess players like Yasser Seirawan from US, extremely great chess player and also chess commentator, I think. And also, as I said, Efim Geller, one of the Russian attacking genius in chess. So I hope you will study Pirc's defense and win many games as I did in my chess games. Also guys, I want to give you a final tip about opening preparation. Please remember that there is not a perfect opening or perfect defense in this case for black. However, it's most important to choose an opening that fits your playing style. Are you a positional player and liking to develop your pieces and putting fight on middle game or end game? Then you can pretty much choose one of these openings and practice them and start to winning some more games. Or if you are more likely aggressive player like one of the legends of chess, Mikhail Tal, magician from Riga, then my friends, you will have to wait few days because I'm also working on new video called Top 5 Aggressive Defenses for Attacking Players with Black, and I am pretty sure you will learn some new openings from there. So guys, what is your opinion about opening preparation and how you found this video? If you like this video, please click to like button, and if you are new to our channel, also consider subscribing. And also mention in comments one of your most favorite openings and defenses when you are playing with black. It would be great to know and learn from each other. Also, as always guys, I hope to see you in next videos, and goodbye for now.